Hi, this is Gary Dranow from Park City, Utah, and the Gary Dranow Show, proudly broadcasting to you from Radio Evolve Rocks in Santa Barbara, California. Listen more and evolve. Hello and welcome to the Gary Dranow Show. Today's esteemed guest is, believe it or not, Minnie, as in Minnie Mouse, Minni Verse, to my show. She was born in California, shaped by Nashville, and now calling Wisconsin, of all places, her home. She writes from her own personal experience because music should make you feel something. And she is a Marine Corps veteran. And Minnie, welcome to my show. Introduce yourself to my listeners.
Hello, listeners. I am Minni Verse. And Marine Corps veteran in the intelligence field, and California born and raised. Went through Nashville, lived there for a few years, and now here. And I'm very honored to be on your show. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're most welcome. Where in California?
LA County. Are you familiar with the?
I was born in Santa Monica. Spent my early years in West LA, and then moved out to Woodland Hills, and then I lived in Manhattan Beach, sold my house there, and moved up to Park City, Utah, where I currently live.
That's quite a change.
Yeah. Um, so what got you out to Wisconsin? I'm curious.
Oh, I know who would choose Wisconsin. A job transfer. So the adulting part of my life. So yeah, that's
Well,
what got me out
what,
of it.
so music is not your full-time job.
No, I wish it was. That's the goal. That's the goal. But right now I'm kind of juggling everything. Yeah.
Well, if I may say so, you've got the voice, the production, and the music songs for it, and I do expect big things from you, Minnie.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate that.
in the Army, we called it our MOS.
Yeah.
Same thing in the Marines.
Yes. Yep. I
So
was
what was your MOS?
2674. So I was a cryptologic linguist. Cryptology, code breaking, all that, whatever stuff.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah.
And
That was fun.
and you're currently working in that field now?
Roughly, yes. I'll say that.
You can't say more. You'll be shot, right?
Yeah, right.
How long were you in the Marine Corps?
I was in for 5 years. For
That's a
five.
good stint. That's a good stint. And where did you serve?
My last place where we deployed from would be Camp Lejeune. So
Uh-huh. I have heard of it. I
yeah, we call it the armpit of the Marine Corps. So.
Yeah, I did my AIT at Fort Benning,
Oh, did you in
Georgia.
Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay. How long were you
So
in, if I can ask? Not to turn.
I was in for 3 years. I spent 14 months in Vietnam.
Oh, wow. Well,
And
thank you for your service. That's amazing. That's
yeah, I
wonderful.
was I was 16 uh, when I
Wow.
went in, and there's a whole story behind it, but I ain't going to tell it because
Oh, well,
I would be shot. Um, what's behind the name Minnie Verse?
Minnie is my actual name. So
Okay.
not a
I
grand story there. The verse part is a little bit of a mix of my last name. It's got the letters. It was a VS. So I said, well, it's kind of, if I just put VS, it's kind of like me versus, right? So who am I
mm-hmm.
fighting? So I said verse because that's kind of a musical twist on it. So I just said,
Um okay. So you've been sucked to Wisconsin because of your job, and your dream is to become a full-time musician. And
yes.
as I said, you've got the voice, the songs, and the production to do it. Um,
Okay.
did you produce your songs as demos or as fully produced songs that you hoped you can get your foot in the door with?
If I'm understanding your question, I don't do any kind of sound engineering or, well, my little attempt here at home, but I've started working with a producer who does the great quality work.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise I just send them stems, but the hope is to send this out and release it in this professional manner, obviously. But I had to work with him. I have to be a realist and know my limitations. So yeah, I'm not that.
Nobody has to know their limitations because if they don't know their limitations, they don't have limitations.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
That's a quote from Gary Dranow. You could take that one with you.
I'm gonna make
Uh,
that a t-shirt. I love that.
I actually have a T-shirt that says "It's not hoarding if it's guitars."
Oh, I love that.
I have 87 guitars. I'm currently selling about 30 of them.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Do you have them
just
listed
part.
somewhere? Because, I may be interested.
Probably not what I'm. Well, I've got a Martin D12 28 12 string that I've got it for a pretty good price on Reverb, and I've got a OM 8 6 string guitar, Martin, and everything else is all electric. So,
Oh, okay.
um, and I from your music, I assume you're an acoustic guitar player.
Yeah, yeah, definitely mostly acoustic. I have one electric, and actually I have my first ever electric. I have it here with me. I will never get rid of it. It's nothing fancy at all. It's not even like a big name brand or anything. But that's my little,
Let
So
me tell you a life's lesson.
yes.
5 years ago, for some reason, and I do not know what is wrong with me, I sold my 1955 Stratocaster to Carlos Santana.
Oh,
And
wow.
I regret that more than almost anything in my life. And I haven't sold a guitar since, other than the 30. I've got a collection of Japanese electric guitars, and
Mm-hmm.
those I'm letting go of because it's just a good time for Japanese guitars. But after selling the 55 to Carlos, I will not part with any of my vintage guitars.
Yeah,
And
I don't blame you. Yeah. Well,
yeah, it's just heartbreaking. Um, a life. Tell me about your childhood.
yeah. So like I said, I was born and raised in Southern California. My
Where did you
parents
go? Where did you go to school?
I went to school. I don't even know if it's still around because the hospital that I was born in is no longer there. So, but it was St. Matthias Elementary School. So it was a private school. Um,
Is that where Canticum Novum comes in?
Actually, that's in a little older, but yeah, through high school, through the first grade of high school, through what was that, ninth grade?
Church choir of the Stellenbosch Dutch Reformed Church.
Yeah, that's a like a Latin rooted, I guess. It's more like the classical
All right,
classical taught kind of
we'll
church.
circle around back to that, but I was just curious. So,
That yeah.
let's get back to your you went to elementary school where?
Yeah, at St. Matthias, so shout out if it's still
Thing,
there, St. Matthias Elementary.
a private school,
Yes, a private
and
school. And that's actually where I did join choir, the kids choir. And we
mm-hmm.
had to, do the practices all the time. So through eighth grade, I was in the church choir, I guess, or whatever they want to call it, their choir at the school. And through there, I mean, I stayed on that until, like I said, in high school. Then it was regular choir and canton cum novum, so it's like the advanced level, if you will. Um, and that is where really I learned my the I don't know what you would call her, I guess the conductor, but the there's where I learned the like how to actually start reading music. She taught us a lot about that, so that's where I learned like the symbols and the staffs and
Mm-hmm.
all
Sight reading.
yeah, yeah. So that was really cool. But at that point already, I had already picked up the guitar because my dad was a musician in the family. So, of coming like my house, I guess if I can go back a little bit, my house was always there's always music. There's never like it's really weird to say, I guess. It was never like a aha moment, this is what I want to do. It's just always been there, as weird as that sounds, because my mom, since our eyes would open in the morning, would always have music going. She'd have be it, Motown or 60s or whatever played. Now what we call yacht rock. She loved that, whatever, anything.
Yacht rock.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
anything like that, you know. So, and she liked Bee Gees too, or whatever. But she just liked music, I think, just the sound. And my dad, like I said, he was a really great singer, and he played guitar by ear. He never took lessons. Same here. I never took lessons. We couldn't afford them, so he never went further. He just played by ear. I tried to learn a little more just on my own, but yeah, and my dad, you know, you could tell he was getting get down to it. They entertained a lot. Like I said, my dad sang, you know, once the few drinks when they entertained, once the few drinks started hitting, he'd bring up the guitar and everybody'd be like, "Oh, here we go, here we go."
Uh-huh.
He's
Okay.
getting down to
Here,
business.
here goes Dad.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. So yeah, that's how that started. So it's never been like it's just always been such a part of me. It's never been like aha, this is gonna be it. It's just I don't know how to live without it, I guess. So
Yeah, well, I hear you. I hear you.
yeah.
As I told you, I've been playing for 60 plus years.
Yeah.
Uh, not to let my age slip or anything, but yeah, you're probably young enough to be my granddaughter. Um, so let's see here. A lifelong vocalist and a songwriter who believes the best stories are the ones we've actually lived. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Um,
I
uh, but let's stick with your childhood for a little bit, or
yeah.
so your dad was into what groups?
Oh, he was into all kinds of stuff. He was mostly since, like I said, once the drink started flowing, he was into like sad drinking songs, and then, you know, he'd go. But from watching him and listening, I started picking up his guitar. It was a classical guitar, and he would just start playing it, and so I would start taking it and trying to mimic. I had no idea what I was doing, you know, just trying to mimic the sounds. And
You figured out a D chord.
yeah, I just whatever sound I heard, I would try, and then I took it to even more things. Whatever song I heard on the radio or whatever, I would try to note by note try to find it, you know, on the guitar without still. I didn't know the notes, you know, as I
But
was
you
younger.
but you developed your ear.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's yeah. So that's a plus, but
That's a huge plus in
yeah.
music. I know I don't have one. Um, uh, so dad was musical. How about mom?
Mom, you know, bless her heart, she could not carry a tune. But she's still a music lover, but man, she cannot not the greatest, but she cannot resist the twist. She loves a twist. She loves to dance and she loves music, but she can't.
She liked Fats Domino, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
all kinds of stuff. But also just to follow up with that a little bit, as we got older, you know, she took a part-time job at a Methodist church. I mean, we're not Methodist, but anyway, she was a secretary there, and the band would keep their instruments set up.
hmm
And so I would go in and like tinker around with the piano there or the drums. And then actually, one time I was in there, there was a white Les Paul. I still remember. Oh, God. So I'm so sorry if whoever might be watching this. I don't know. But there's a white Les Paul. And, or no, I can't remember the color it was. But anyway, there's a Les Paul. And my mom came in. Because I would sneak away. It would be like if we got released early from school or something, she would pick us up and come back to work. And I ended up breaking because I set it down so hard, the input jack for the
hmm
for the guitar. And I never told us. I didn't even tell her. I just put it down and I saw the whole plaque just kind of from the inside. Oh my God, it was horrible. But so I don't know. Hopefully I won't burn in hell for that one. So
well, I hate
yeah.
to tell you this. This is bad news, but there ain't no hell.
Well, that's
The
great for me.
Marines is as close as you'll get to hell.
Oh, I'm golden then. I'm golden.
You're golden, baby. Um, and I only know this from being almost 100 years old. So what can I tell you? Um,
Yeah.
so your earliest music influences were obviously what your dad played,
Yeah.
which I still haven't pulled out of you what it was.
Oh, it was whatever he would hear as well. Whatever
I mean,
sad song.
Beatles, Bee Gees,
It was more boy, I'm trying to think, it's been so long. It was more like same thing, more like sad I don't just remember like sad drinking songs. I don't think it was country. I think it would be more like boy, you know what? I don't know. Maybe he would even, well, he did write poetry, so unless it was his music that he was writing, I never heard him actually sing his own. I know he wrote poetry because after he passed away, we found a bunch of books where he had written. So unless those were the songs, you know.
My condolences. He must have been
Thank
young
you.
when he passed away.
Yeah, he was I'm trying to think. It was actually the year that I moved here to Wisconsin. That was a great year that year. Really. But anyway, so 2018 he passed away. So it's been a little bit, but still it was actually the same year I released Little Girl, but we'll get to that.
Ah, okay, and we will get to
About the
that.
same year I released it because on his birthday. But yeah, it wasn't nothing I grew up with was country. Nothing exposed me to country or that kind of line of
Well,
music. It
and
just
I was going to ask you, what genre do you describe yourself as being in? And my question mark was country, and I don't really think so.
thank you. I don't know either. I always ask people, and the best interpretation, I guess the best definition I have found is somebody said that I sound like, and I'm like, I can go with that, that I sound like Shania Twain meets Sheryl Crow with a bit,
Which would be Tori Amos. No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Uh,
I mean, I really don't know. But I have been leaning towards, quite honestly, like some kind of modern country or some,
mm-hmm. Okay.
only because it's a little bit of a twist on a country because I don't rap. I don't do thrash metal.
You definitely won't burn in hell because you don't rap.
That's true. Good point. Good point. But I was actually never even I grew up with here's a twist for you. I grew up with music like, Skid Row. Oh, Jeff is gonna hate this, but like Skid
Hair
Row,
bands, hair
hair
bands.
bands, hair bands, love hair bands. And because I had two older siblings, so I got a lot of different influences. So I have like Duran Duran from one sibling, Carpenters, um, hair bands. There's even a little heavier like Pantera type stuff, things like that. Rolling Stones even. I mean, it's just all over the place. Aretha
A
Franklin.
very eclectic music experience.
Very much so, very much so. So,
Yeah.
and I didn't get exposed to country until I got my first job in high school. And I got a job as a salesperson at a country western clothing store, I guess, where they sell like boots and
In LA or
yeah,
San Fernando Valley.
in LA, in LA, yeah.
What was the name of the store? Because I probably bought a pair of Tony Lama boots there.
Oh, maybe.
I was an equestrian when I was 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. So
And, and I'll tell you what, Gary, I honestly feel like I must be really old because I don't think the store's around anymore. It was called Howard and Phil's Western Wear.
yeah, I know it.
Okay. I don't think it's around anymore as far as I know, but yeah, that's what it was called. And yeah, I got there and then it was like country all the time, just all the time. And so I started, you start growing along.
But real country, right?
Yeah, yeah, real country. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Who are some of your later musical influences, if there are any?
Um, no, because when I went into the military, it was all whatever was around because you just played the radio or whoever had their CDs at the time. Like I'm aging myself, but or whatever. But
Come on, you're a child. Trust me.
thank you. No, I'm kidding. Um, but there wasn't anything. I don't know that even now when I make music, like when I create songs or anything, I set like little goals for myself, things I want to try, but there's nothing where I'm like, oh, I really want to emulate this sound. Does that make sense? Like there's nothing
Yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want to be
yeah.
like that. I just it just comes to me. I know it's weird, but I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to write something where, like with my latest one, Even Kings Die, I wanted something where the drums just go doof, doof, doof. It's weird as it sounds. This is the way my brain works. Again, not, I no music theory
So
behind it. It's just
you're an arranger deep inside.
maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you are. Um, we have to take a 2-minute break. We'll be right back with Minnie
It's so
Verse.
easy to sleep, but only when you're not next to me. I feel like I can breathe, and not like I'm drowning in apathy. You were here, but you were gone, telling her you were alone. But you were asking me to tell you what I need, then tell me that you changed, tell her you would leave. Because you were afraid you would lose the best thing you've ever had, playing both sides of the good and There's a feeling I get only when you are next to me. Next to me, love and hate and regret, 'cause I know you had two hearts on your string. Oh, you were here, but you were gone, telling her you were alone. But you were asking me to tell you what I need, and tell me that you changed, tell her you would leave. Because you were afraid you would lose the best thing you've ever had, playing both sides of the good and bad. Sweet words of sugar on your lips built every lie that we have lived. The sweetest sugar still dissolves in the rain. Because you
Back to my interview with Minnie Verse, and she's talking to me all the way from beautiful cheese country, Wisconsin. Um, and what were we talking about before we jumped off air here?
We were talking about Howard and Phil's, or maybe the music influences,
Yeah,
I think. Yep.
yeah, music influences, but you said really there's nothing that grabs you out of the current music scene, and that music just comes to you. It's an innate ability that you have. Um, and
Yeah.
I'm going to remind my listeners that Minnie has put out 4 songs,
Yes.
and one is better than the next. So you could find her on Spotify. So check her out. What's the name of your playlist? Just Minnie Verse?
Yes, Minnie Verse, just like
Okay.
it's on the screen there. Yep,
Yep.
Minnie Verse.
Okay. So whether it's grit, heartache, or hope, I put it into my music so that maybe, just maybe, you'll hear a piece of your own story too.
Yep.
Talk to me about that.
That has probably been one of the coolest things, I think, from just I'm on social media and I get messages, and I have tried to be you can't fake. I can't anyway. I guess some people do, but I can't fake something I can't write about something I don't know about. It is my take on it. I don't want to reach and pretend I know or whatever. So I always write from a place where I know I've survived or been through or experienced, what, like I said, good or bad. But it's really great to get the feedback from people online, or when they listen, or my emails on my social media as well. So they'll send emails or excuse me, um, or messages through my social media. But they'll say, like I've gotten messages where like, oh, I was having a really tough day, or oh, I really identify with the song because something I went through, and on my social media as well, I actually went through the month of April, and that's what started me on daily posting, because I was putting stories behind the songs, like what what brought the songs, what they're about, basically, what experience I went through to write it, or what it was about. So I did that for each song, and it's been really humbling, really, to see how many people really it resonates with. It's really great. So it's kind of nice to be vulnerable, because it was really hard for me to really put myself out there. It was, I don't, but it was, it's hard.
Well, you're doing a great job here, so
Thank
I'm
you.
sure you will find your voice in the world. Let's break down each song, good and bad. Talk to me about the story behind that.
Yeah, Good and Bad is about a cheater, basically who is talking about basically who's on his phone or her phone, whatever, somebody who's on their phone, texting somebody or telling somebody that, oh, you're the best thing I've ever had. I love you. I want this with you, blah, blah, blah. And then having somebody right next to them telling them, oh, you're the best thing I've ever had. I love you. It's basically the same thing, playing two people. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing that sparked that song is I actually had a conversation with somebody, and that person asked me, well, don't you miss sleeping next to me? I bet you're lonely without me, and I bet you're sleeping horribly, and just trying to say like it was so horrible without him. And it was funny because that was my exact answer. I hadn't thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I'm sleeping great actually because I don't have to look over. I'm
I
not
don't
worried.
miss you. I don't miss you at all, fool.
Yeah, that was it. And so it was cool because that's the first line. That was my response. It's so easy to sleep only when you're not next to me, that's
All right.
so
Um,
yeah.
what was his name? No, just kidding. Uh, so that's good and bad.
Yeah.
Even King's Die is your most recent song.
Yes.
So let's
Yes.
hold that off for a second. Let's go to One Sunrise at a Time, which sounds like a life lesson.
Yeah. That one was something I wrote at the end of a relationship, and
You've ended a
basically,
lot of relationships, haven't you?
no doubt, not by my own fault. No, I'm kidding. What can I say? I kiss a lot of frogs, I guess, but but yeah, this one, When Sunrise at a Time, yeah, at the end of a relationship, it's when you have a really hard time letting go of something, like you're like, oh no, it's over and this is so hard. And I was in an apartment, like I explained in the video as well, and I had this big picture window, and I like to write a lot at night or at dawn or just when it's quiet, when your brain's quiet too. And
Okay.
just so you can put it all out there. And at that time I was doing that, and it was very late and the sun was coming up, and I was like, man, I feel horrible, this has ended, and I'm so lonely or whatever. And um then I started to really think about like all of the, I don't know, bad things, but all the, I'm going to say it for now, the bad things that he did, or all the lines that were crossed, all the things I guess that I was just putting up with. So it really wasn't that great of a relationship. It was the idea of the relationship that I missed. Does that make sense? So it
Sure,
wasn't necessarily
certainly.
that, yeah. So it wasn't that person. So once I realized that, then I was like, oh, you know what? This pain will go away. I just gotta wait another day. Just like every time I see the sunrise, I'll be better each day and I'm gonna be
You're
fine.
one sunrise further away.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
so Little Girls came before even Kings Die.
yeah, Little Girl was my first ever. I call that my Rip the Band-Aid Off song because that's the first release I ever released. And
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 when was that?
that was February 6th, 2024, actually.
My God, you're new at this.
I am very new. I am. And I chose February 6th because that's my dad's birthday. And I kind of and the reason it's called Little Girls, because I at the God, you're right, I do have a lot of relationships because when somebody's struggling through a relationship, there's, I was sitting outside, I was looking at the house, and I was like, how am I going to walk back in there and pretend everything's okay? Like how do you do that? Um,
Mm-hmm.
just to, survive it, I guess, or whatever. And so, everybody's like, oh, you'll be okay. It's just a rough patch. And, people do whatever. And you try to put on a front or whatever. And you know, my thought on that was, what would, because my dad had passed away. And so I thought, what would my dad say? And so he said, little girl, stop acting. So like pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you're gonna be fine. And somebody who doesn't treat you the way you need to be treated is probably not your person. You shouldn't have to fight to be treated correctly, I guess is the way. So that's how I wrote that, from the choruses being my dad talking to me and the verses being me, kind of like sharing the experience of that. Um, the one thing you will notice, like I said, that's my first release. So I just wanted to get something released. Otherwise, I would never do it. It's one of those things you wait for perfection. You're never going to do it. So you'll notice there's like no timing, there's no drums, there's no like actual structure. It's just me and a guitar. And I did do some overlap, some background vocals on it, but that was it. I just put some effects, some vocals, and I sent it off into the world because otherwise.
What was this during Nashville?
No, that was here. I was here already in Wisconsin.
Okay, and
Sorry.
so you never got into the music scene at Nashville?
The furthest I got when I was in Nashville was writing songs with other songwriters. Nothing. I never got out
I
and
hear that's like a factory in Nashville. They
yeah,
they
yeah.
stick you in a room with a couple other people, and you got to write a song, and you get $100, and that's your day.
And I'll tell you, I it was exhausting. It was fun. I liked writing songs, but I don't like to. I can't be a machine, I like to write, like I said, from personal experience, I like to be real with my music. And I don't like the come on, go, 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 because then you just start making anything up. You just start spewing out anything.
And look at me with 120 songs on Spotify. Ah!
But that's awesome. Maybe you have a gift. I don't have that gift.
You just haven't found it yet. You do have a gift. Trust me. I,
Thank
I,
you.
I can hear it in your song. I can hear it in your vocals.
Oh, thank you.
I hear it in your production. Did you have a producer for any of these songs?
Yes, starting with Little Girl, I mean, I'm sorry, not Little Girl, starting with Good and Bad, One Sunrise, and even King's Die, the last three. Yeah, I'm working with a producer. His name is Matt Caravalli out of New York, and he is great, honestly. I love and what I like too is he's easy to work with, and it seems like unless unless he's just I don't know, faking it, but it seems like we really see eye to eye on a lot of things and we have a lot of similar ideas. And he's really great to work with because I can be like, you know what, for this, like I said with the drums, or for this one, I just want to do like this, or I want to hear this, or I'd like to. So it's been a really great experience with him, honestly. I always say, I'm never gonna like gatekeep, but please don't take him from me because I love working with
Oh
him.
no, I'm
No, I'm just in general for whoever's watching this, but yeah,
yeah, yeah.
great.
What's I'm just curious, what's your business deal with him?
Just for hire,
Ah,
personal.
so you own 100% of your masters.
Yes, sir.
So as far as sync licensing goes, you're a one-stop shop, easy,
Yes.
clear, and that is the way to be.
Yeah.
Um, and if you want your music career to explode, get your music on a TV show or on a film, even a commercial or video game, and you will be amazed what happens next.
I really should look into that. That's the sync licensing, right? I really,
Yep, sync
yeah.
licensing. There's a guy named Chris. His last name is Dick. It's Dyck, and he has a class called Art of the Song Pitch.
Oh,
Um, Check it out for next year. For instance, on the 23rd, I get to do my third song pitch to an actual music supervisor.
wow.
Yeah, and I get briefs, requests for songs. They're called briefs all the time. I mean, like every day.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's a great course, and if I could remember it, I will send you a link to his thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be great. Thank you. Yeah.
yeah, you may have to send me an email to remind me, but you definitely want to know about this. Even Kings Die. I have a song called "The King Is Dead," so
Oh,
that proves that even kings die.
high five. Oops. Yep. The story behind that actually, I wrote that in one day. That was in September of, we're in 25, so last year. I was driving into work and you know when you're kind of like on autopilot, whatever, and there's a horoscope playing over the radio. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the horoscope was about, but I remember just hearing him say, even kings die. There was a guy, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, he was talking and he said, even kings die. And my ears just perked up. I mean, it was automatic like that. And then it was during that time too that like a lot of, like I've said before, like moguls and social media people, a lot of fakes were falling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of facades, I guess, were crumbling. And starting, so from there, what I wrote about was about not idolizing the fake things that you see necessarily on social media or magazines or people or whatever, because it's not necessarily always true. You don't know what's behind those faces. There's sometimes a mask. Also, I also started kind of going inwards, and I was kind of talking to myself because growing up was it was difficult. California, especially for a female, is not to get into this, but I'm gonna touch on it a little bit. It's difficult, right? So I have always felt like, oh well, you're not pretty enough, or you're not, you're like I always say, like I've been told my my eyes are big.
I've got a song. It's my number one song of all time. It's called Body Wise.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Okay, I will. I
It
will.
might speak to you.
Awesome. I will. Thank you. I love that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I kind of was writing to myself as well. And I said, you've already got it all, and even kings die, and just don't be blind. One of my favorite lyrics off of that is actually the bridge. So the bridge says, "Don't be blind to the lies you're to don't be blind to the lies you're yeah, don't be blind to the lies you're buying." Don't be blind to the light. Yeah. Fight the lies your eyes are buying. That's what it is. Don't be blind to the light you're shining.
The light your eyes are buying, or the lives
Don't,
your eyes are
don't be
buying.
blind to the light you're shining.
Oh, the light you're
Fight the
shining.
lies.
Okay.
Yeah. Fight the lies your eyes are buying. So your eyes are consuming something, but it's not true. And you don't give yourself enough credit for the light you're shining. So, yeah.
I pray that you're spared the bots as your music gets more and more out there, and you look to promote your music. Be very wary of everybody who says they could promote your music, because bots are everywhere, and Spotify will throw you off if they find any bots in your streams.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Well, I didn't know they would throw you off. I knew it could help your algorithm, or whatever, but
No, it does not help your algorithm.
right. Oh, right. I knew it couldn't. Right. I knew it could hurt your algorithm, but I don't. How do you know? And this is great. I'm going to ask you. How do you know when there's bots behind it? I guess I don't. I
You've really got to do your research, and I would say only first of all, be very wary of people that reach out to you that say they can
yeah
promote your music. That's number one. Number
yeah
two, find somebody that has experience with the company. And as a matter of fact, I could send you a company that I can vet that is 100% organic. And
that'd be great.
they're not terribly expensive. They're not terribly cheap, but I've gone 4 rounds with them, and I haven't had a single song that they've worked on pulled down. So they're the real deal. And I would look it up right now, but I don't want to mess this up.
No, that's fine.
So
Thank you. I appreciate
so
that.
even kings die.
Yeah.
What is the ultimate message of the song?
The message is you are enough. That is the ultimate message. You are enough. Don't buy anything else. Like, don't believe anything else. You are enough. You don't need all the fake things. That is the message. You are enough.
Okay, and with that, words of wisdom from Minnie Verse. We're going to take another 2-minute break and we'll be right back with you. So stay
Sitting
put.
outside again, wondering how to pretend that it's all gonna be alright. We're searching for that light that we were told that we would find when they told us we'd be alright. And from the outside looking in, you'd never guess we've given in, 'cause it all looked alright. But I can feel myself breaking. I can feel my faith fading. Then you said, little girl, stop acting so blue. Stop crying for a boy that don't love you, little girl. I'm telling you, yeah, just give it some time, you'll have a whole new world. Ooh, yeah, little girl, yeah, just give it some time. I'm taking off this ring and promising this is the end, and I'm gonna be alright. I've got all I need, I don't
And we're
need
back
you
with Minnie Verse, a very talented, but I would say young to the music industry. She has 4 songs out. She sounds like she should have 50 songs out, and she will get there, I assure you. Minnie and I were talking about something. You got to help me, Minnie. I'm old. I don't
We were
remember.
talking, Even Kings Die, the overall message of Even Kings Die. We were
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
stories
yeah.
behind the
Okay,
songs, yeah.
good memory. Good memory, Minnie.
Yep.
Thank you for saving me. So we got to the overall message of the song, and we're going to move on to the song to before diving into songwriting, I spent years in chorus as well as continually developing my craft as a vocalist and guitarist. You did that in kind of a vacuum, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, sure did.
What was that? What was that like?
It was interesting. You know, internet wasn't as easily accessible, except for, especially for we were, we'll say, below the poverty line. We weren't exactly, well off, but we did eventually get it. But I would go out and buy, as far as like guitar wise, I would go out and buy tabs. Or like the first song I learned was, oh, this is so cheesy. Everybody learns this song, I think, but I still love it. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. First tab I learned. Right? Got the sheet music back when you had to buy paper. Um, and then I thought I was so cool, so then I started buying more, like same, hairband kind of music. And I didn't even realize how I mean, it's not hard to figure out anyway, but like the tabs, the chord tabs on it,
Yeah,
the chord
yeah,
part.
sure.
It's not hard to figure out, but so I got that. After that, I went out and got the advanced Led Zeppelin. There's a whole book, there's a
Mm-hmm.
whole book.
Yep.
And when I brought it home, I was so proud of myself. I still remember this. And my sister, she was like, "What did you buy?" I was like, "Oh, I bought this Led Zeppelin book. I'm gonna learn the songs and blah blah." And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "Do you know how to do that?" I was like, "No." She's like, "What'd you buy it for?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm gonna learn it." I don't know. I don't know if it's like, how they say ignorance is bliss, I guess. You just whatever. You know what? You're right. Just like you said earlier. If you don't know you have limitations, you really don't, You
Yep.
really don't.
Yep.
You just never.
Okay.
So
Uh,
yeah,
um,
yeah. And
I'm
so
still blown away by the Marine Corps thing. That's just thank you for your service and
that was my
um,
honor right back
that
at you.
that that
That's
it that it equipped you with a life skill that you're able to use now in your public life. That's really great.
yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
so catacomb novum,
Yeah.
Latin for new new song for God, I believe, Psalm 96:1. And by the way, I'm not at all religious, so I'm
I'm not
deep,
either.
deep out of my water here, deep out of the water here, or deep in the water here, whichever way you look at it. Um, but uh, this was private school, and then you continued with choir into high school?
Yeah, Cantum Cum Novum. That was before school, and then there was a class during school, and then on weekends we would even have we had like different aside from the how you have typical Christmas programs and whatever, and we had concerts we would give. And then we also had things like I still have my booklet too, like 24-hour sing-a-thons. So it's basically your voice, that's you're doing it, you're just singing all the time. So I really enjoyed it. But school ends and then you go to the military and that, and
Uh,
you stop.
did you do any singing in the military?
I did. So this okay. So in the military, I didn't bring my guitar. I didn't bring any kind of, instruments or anything. But when the weekend was going, or if there was a long weekend or anything, there were a group of us that would get the drinks together, go to like the rec room, the central area. Well, you're military, you remember. So we
Mm-hmm.
go to the rec room and we just start playing there. I borrow somebody's guitar. We'd drink, we'd play, we'd sing, like that. And then for a little bit, there was a bar this is North Carolina, so because I was at Lejeune. But there was a bar that did karaoke. One of my friends was a karaoke DJ there, and I got a job as a waitress there for like my off time. And I became the singing waitress. So I would wear like a
Aha.
headset and I would sing and and serve drinks and everything. And that was actually really fun. It was a little difficult because I had to count change while I was singing, but it was cool. It was
So
fun.
so you learned how to multitask,
Yeah, you can call it
which
that.
served you well in intelligence, I am sure.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah.
Okay. Um, I write from personal experience, turning real moments, both highs and the struggles, into my songs that connect or that hopefully connect.
Hopefully
Uh,
can.
um, that says a lot. Let's talk about that sentiment a little bit.
Sure. I kind of touched on earlier. It's I think a lot of people go through a lot of experiences. The older you get, you can tell a lot of stories. And it'd be really nice to just a big part of that also was that I didn't necessarily talk about it. Music and songwriting, that was my outlet. That was my therapy. Of course, I could probably use a little more, but depends on who you ask. But
Can't we all? Can't we all?
right, right. But it was just I didn't really talk about it. And so I'm hoping that by just sharing these experiences and the way that I felt, because at the time I don't think I did, and to just express it and just let down my walls and be like, this is what it felt like. And if you're going through this, it's okay. You're gonna make it, I'm proof. I mean, maybe with a few bumps and bruises, but hey, you're gonna make it. It's okay. This is just life. A lot of people tend to maybe move inward and don't really share, and that gets pretty dark. I think. And so
What was it like being a woman in the Marines?
um honestly, there's females that I've served with that have very different experiences, but for myself, it was great and it was challenging. I loved it. The friends that I made, male or female, I still have them to this day. I'm sure you do too. I can
Mine are
still
all dead.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that
Oh,
then.
and that's true, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
My whole platoon is dead.
Your whole
So
platoon. Oh,
yeah,
man, that's hard. But you're a hard charger then, see? Yeah.
I
Either
well,
that or you're stubborn.
yeah, I'm all things.
But yeah, so my experience was great. But I also felt like I always had to work harder, I had to push harder, I had to be stronger, I had to be just to make sure I kept up with the males, you know. I feel like that, it's a male dominated area. And
Yeah,
so um
just a bit, just a bit.
yeah, yeah, just a little. So anything that the guys did, I had to push harder to be like, see, I can do it just as well as you, or maybe just a little better.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it was hard, but I loved the challenge, I guess. Maybe it's just me being stubborn or a punk. I don't know. But it was good for me. And I like I said, even the friends that I had there, male and female, like I still talk to them now. Not daily, but I can still reach out if anybody needs anything for sure. And we all band together, you know?
Yep, yep. Um, uh,
So
while the last couple were alive, we were in pretty constant contact. So,
were
uh,
you? That's great. Yeah, it's
yeah.
something that it's really interesting too, because I think back on it now and you're like, you think to yourself, there's like for myself, I was deployed, I had a team I was in charge of, and here I am like what, 20 years old? I'm like, how is a 20-year-old in front of in charge of these people's lives, or 21 or whatever it was, It's mind-boggling now to think back this, like somebody, but it's such a different lifestyle in the military, you have to grow up so fast, but it's still, I look at a 20-year-old now and I'm like, no way would I trust you with my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Um, can I ask how old you are now?
yeah, I'm from the 1900s, so I'm in my 40s. Can I leave it at that?
You don't look like you're in your 40s. I had you pegged
Dang,
for late 20s.
really?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
No. Let's see here. My hope is that through my music, people feel seen, understood, and reminded that they're never alone
Yep,
in what they are going through.
yep,
You should be on one of those suicide prevention lines that unfortunately has been put an end to.
oh, I
Um,
know, yeah,
oh, and God, what has been done to the Veterans Administration? I know we're not supposed to talk about this, but I just cannot believe what has gone on. But
yeah,
let's leave that one lie. Music has always been my way of making sense of the world, and I believe it's a lifelong journey, one of constant growth, practice, and connection. Speak to
yeah.
that.
I think I never will feel satisfied with my, as weird as it sounds, but I'll never feel like, oh, I've got it. I'm good. I don't need to learn that, or, I'm the best at this, or I'm so good at that. I don't need to worry about. I will always feel like I have to push harder. And maybe that's military. I don't know, but I always feel like, yeah, that's good, but I can do better. Oh
Well,
yeah,
you know what they say, a rolling stone gathers no moss. So,
that's true. That's
yeah.
very true. So,
So,
I mean, that's just what I feel. And as far as like, still, I always feel like I can always improve. I have plenty of room to improve at this point. But even, with my job or in life or anything that I do or know, I always want to learn something new. I don't think there's ever a point where I'm like, nah, I'm good. I always want to learn some more. But as far as a connection, kind of touching on military too, is that, as you know, and suicide, there were friends, and I'm sure you've lost some too to suicide, and
mm-hmm.
that's
Yes,
huge. I
yes.
feel like, if somebody would just reach out, if you would just share your feelings, we could let you know you're not alone. I think that's a big thing for me. I think people just need to connect more. It's me.
Um, how on earth do you know Jeff Lawrence?
Social media, music right on, when I set up my Instagram. Yeah, on Instagram, and it's been very organic. It's funny because I, was trying to go out and reach out. Like I said, it was very counterintuitive to be on social media, to actually put myself out there. Usually I try to hide, but to go out, and I was trying to find as many musicians or anything. I wasn't even looking for local, just anybody so I could, follow. And his skill, I know it sounds probably cheesy, but this is absolutely, and I tell him the same thing too. Um, the caliber of his playing is, to me, so impressive, and I feel like his resume also, and just the things that he's done. He's a really easygoing guy, but I also feel like he's very impressive, but he doesn't really play on that a lot. But
Not
hopefully he
Jeff.
don't.
No, Jeff is one of the most humble guys I know. He's the first musician I met when I moved to Park City, and
Yeah, so
he single-handedly put my band around me. So
that's
I
awesome.
think every one of my I've got a keyboard player, a bass player, and a drummer, and I know my drummer came from him. I'm pretty damn sure my bass player came from him, and Scooter Keys, my keyboard player, that's not really his name, um, uh, may have come through Jeff. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's been a godsend for me.
It's
Um,
same actually, because I have been able to ask him so many questions, and it's so refreshing. It's almost like it was very hard for me to even like start asking him questions because he's so helpful. He's always willing to like tell me about something or share info, or I can ask him like the dumbest newbie questions, like, hey, how exactly would this work if I do that? Because he's been there, he's done it, and he's not like somebody who's again, to use this word, gatekeeper. He's not a gatekeeper. So, but that also helps me share whatever I know with other people, because that's what he does too, I mean,
yep,
it's a
I do
nice
know.
community kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, he's always trying to get me to play out. What I do is I do live streams every Monday night from 6 to 8 Mountain Time. Except for last night, Xfinity gave me. I'm supposed to have 300 megabits per second guaranteed. I
yeah.
had 140.
Well, how that just randomly it just happened?
No, we tested our speed at 5:45 at 6 p.m. when we went live, 140 megabits per second. We had 350 at 5:45, no show.
Wow. Yeah, that's
And we play for 2 hours straight,
oh,
and and man, it killed me.
yeah.
It just killed me. So not only do I not have something to listen back to today or yesterday, whenever Monday was, but uh, my fans and the people who watch the performance after it's recorded on YouTube, there ain't nothing for this last Monday. We lost it all.
Oh, that's horrible. I'm sorry to hear that. That's
Yeah.
frustrating. I
And I live at 7,000 feet in the mountains, and fiber optic is not going to get here for 10 years.
I believe that. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh man, that's got to be frustrating. Yeah, I've seen some of your videos playing. I didn't realize, maybe I just didn't look hard enough. I didn't realize you were doing it live at one point. Like that you still are, that you do it live every week. I guess I just watched videos and watched you do your thing.
Do you
Yeah.
watch some of my music?
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
Well,
I did to come.
well, thank you. What did you think?
Yeah, I like it. I tell you what, I watched the last couple of interviews, and then I watched just like random videos. I think they're very chill, but I like it. You just talk and you play. I would love to do something like that. I think that'd be fun to do on my end. But yeah.
Well, let me give you a word of advice.
Yes.
Just do it, as Nike says. Get your YouTube channel started and get going.
I
We're going to have to take a 2 minute break. We'll be right back with Minnie Verse.
I can count the days I've loved you with the scars that mark my heart. I can feel those angry words you said every night in the dark. I can tell your memory's fading when I see the morning sun. And there's one more day of living that I know that I've begun. I'll take it one sunrise at a time. I'll take it one word of every line. One more day I'm getting through. There's one more step away from you. I'll take it one sunrise at a time. I can hear the ashes whisper of the lines you went and crossed, and I can feel that flame I used to know burning into dust. I can tell your memory's faded when I see the morning sun. And there's one more day of living that I know that I've begun. I'll take it one sunrise at a time. I'll take it one word of every line. One more day of getting through. There's one more step away from you.
We're back on with Minni Verse, and we're going to wrap up the hour. And this is Minnie's freestyle conversation. She's going to take us through whatever is on her mind.
Wow. Something that is on my mind, I'll tell you what, just recently, so I'm like we've established, I'm pretty new to this whole thing. So I'm trying to establish a lot of different things. I've gone to get a PO box. That's how new I am. Just so I can do, mailing things out. Like I'm coming up with t-shirts. I've got stickers going, some merch, some light merch. And also aside from the social media thing.
Do you know about Printify?
Yes,
Good. Okay.
Yep. But the thing I was gonna say was, how I was saying that it's been an adjustment to kind of put myself out there. So I was kind of proud of myself, as weird as this sounds, but it's like baby steps for me. So when the lady asked, because I didn't know whether to get like a business PO box, it's simple things, I'm telling you. This is where Jeff comes in handy, or a personal one. But I asked the lady at the post office, and she's like, "Well, what's your business?" And I said, "Oh, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm an artist." I've never said that to anybody. Isn't that weird? To a regular person, I've never said that, and I felt like so
As
embarrassed.
opposed to a non-regular person?
As opposed to musicians or anything like that. So, I'm just like, yeah, that's what I do. So it was kind of nice, kind of pat myself on the back. It's like, good for you, step into my shoes here. It's okay. I don't have to have I'm no Gary Dranow, but
I got news for you. Nobody's a Gary Dranow, and they're very fortunate for that. Trust me.
No, that's what makes you awesome. But yeah, I was pretty proud of that. But like I said, I'm taking it step by step, day by day, learning what I can, taking the opportunities such as this, and I really appreciate it, honestly. The other day, as a matter of fact, the other day, I sent out a random DM to a local radio host here, just because of the way the world is right now. And I said, "Hey, I've got this song, Even Kings Die." It's like, I don't know, might be good for an intro into maybe a news story or something, because, the way things are right now. And sure enough, I wasn't expecting anything. And she said, "This is a great song. We're going to use it tomorrow." And sure enough, and she gave me a shout out, which I thought was really awesome. So a local station said, "Hey, this is a local singer-songwriter, musician," whatever she said. I put the clip on TikTok, and I was like, "That's so cool." Just like that. She just put it over the airwaves.
Well, congratulations for being enterprising. You deserve a pat on the back.
Yes, that is not easy for me to do, but yeah, so I've got some little stories like that, and people have, like I said, they've given me a little bit of Jeff put me, he let me have a little spot and put me on his podcast as well. He asked me for a while and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I kept saying no. And he asked me to be on his podcast and I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. But
I didn't know Jeff had a podcast. Yes, I did. I'm kidding.
but yeah, so that was still, yeah, again, that was about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. So, it's very, very, very new to me, but I'm learning, it's learning. I figured, I got to take everything in stride and learn and grow. That's the only way to do it, right? You got to, like that first song I let out, you got to rip the Band-Aid off and do it. So.
Keep talking.
Oh. What else do I tell? I don't know if you would like me to mention my social medias or.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, well, great. I have a website, minniverseofficial.com. There you can get, if you want to, oh, please, this is something that I always mention. Sometimes I feel like I have the plague or something. If anybody in I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So if anybody in the Milwaukee area, if you would like to form a band, put something together, go do gigs, anything like that around the area, please hit me up. My website is minniverseofficial.com. There's links to my music, to my Spotify, to coming soon are t-shirts, and other merch, and a little bit of my background. There's a contact form there that you can send me, to get in touch with me. Also, I do have TikTok and Instagram. That's Minni Verse Music. So what you see on the screen, music. That's the same on Instagram and TikTok. Yes, right. Thank you very much. And then I also have a YouTube channel, which is Minni Verse. So that's all out there. And if you'd like to go check it out, I'd appreciate it.
As far as getting in a band,
Yes.
I know here in Utah, we have a musicians Facebook group. And I would imagine Milwaukee has a musicians Facebook group.
Yeah,
Put a post in there that you're a vocalist looking for a backup band.
Okay, I'll do that. The only thing I've done, and because I've been a little iffy about it, is I've gone in there to look, and it seems like a lot of them are
Kids,
or their style of music maybe is a little different.
Mhm.
So I know there's like emo thrash, this and that, but so yeah, maybe I'll do that though. Maybe I'll put my own post rather than seeing what's out there. I'll step forward.
You might be surprised. And if
Yeah.
you make your songs available through your post with a link or something, or a Spotify link,
Yeah.
you might be surprised. You'll end up with a band.
You're right. That would be good. I'll do that. A lot of good
All right.
feedback from you. A lot of good notes. Thank you very much. Good advice.
All right. We have been talking for an hour. Can you believe it? And Minnie, it's been so refreshing having you on my show. Once again, I want to thank you for your service and your continued service. And I can't think of anything else. So we're going to say goodbye. Yes.
I just wanted to thank you as well for having me on. I truly appreciate it. It's been great talking to you. It's been really good talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for all your advice and all your...
I don't deserve it. I appreciate it, and I'll take it all day long. So with that, goodbye, everybody. Minni Verse and Gary Dranow out.